So earlier, I did a quick YouTube short on my reaction to the new trailer that came out for Make Your Mark Chapter 2, which is basically the Make Your Mark series, and basically a continuation of the Make Your Mark special, which was, of course, the pilot slash sequel slash well, I guess you could just call it that. It's the pilot slash sequel, to the series and to the movie, if you will. But it was through this special, well, not special, but this trailer, that we got more information. We kind of got more of an idea of what's been going on. Now, I do have to correct myself on something. I always called the villainous alicorn Opala when it's Opaline. It's Opaline. I believe that's how it's called. And she has a hench pony, unicorn I'm assuming, called Misty, who is trying to win the trust of everybody at Maritime Bay. And a lot of folks, fans, are already assuming that Misty seems to be the kind of pony that, is going to turn over a new leaf. She's basically going to be the equivalent of a Starlight Shimmer or Sunset Shimmer. Well, not Starlight Shimmer, but a Starlight Glimmer or a Sunset Shimmer. People pretty much are assuming that's what she's going to be playing the role of. Someone that's, in that same category, that same situation as, Glimmer and Shimmer were, respectfully. And that might be true. We'll find out in the 23 episodes that get shown, throughout who knows how long. Now, Dr. Wolf, as expected, because when I saw the trailer earlier today, I and a lot of other fans probably knew he was going to, do a video on it. And he did. He did a little quick video. And, he kind of acknowledged that these 23 episodes that we're going to get are going to be over the next few years. I wouldn't exactly say that. I would say most likely, more than likely, if they divide the episodes up by 6 or 8, as I've mentioned before, we could be getting at least maybe a year or so's worth of the first season. That's what we could be getting. And the way they're doing this, by calling it, Make Your Mark Chapter 2, that pretty much gives us an idea that if the first, several episodes on the, on the 26th, a week, 2 weeks from today, on the 26th of this month, if the first 6 to 8 episodes are dumped on that day, then what that means is the next 6 to 8 episodes will be dumped maybe in time for the new year, and that'll be dubbed Chapter 3. So we kind of got an idea that Make Your Mark, every part that comes out, with the episodes, all those episodes are going to be chapters, or going to be looked at as chapters. So in other words, there's not going to be any confusion of, oh, it's a new season, it's this and that. No, these are chapters, like, in a book, in a novel. To give you a good example of, shows that, have done that, I go back to the 90s Spider-Man show that Fox did. Fox Kids, that is. And there was a lot of arcs within several seasons that were broken up into chapters. They had different titles, but they were broken up into chapters. And they did this to give it more of an epic feel, more of a feel of importance when you get down to it. So by going this route, it feels like that's what Hasbro and the people behind the animation, which I don't think is Boulder Media, it's somebody else, can't think of the name right now, is planning to do. They're planning to give this a feel of importance. And the trailer that dropped today, in my opinion, kind of helped, validate, that decision, that reasoning. It helped validate it because there's a lot going on. Now, Opaline and Misty, as I mentioned before in the quick reaction, they seem to have a bond, like some kind of a bond of friendship between the two that, is, I think, you know, as I mentioned in the quick reaction, we're going to find out more as the show goes on. And I'm not going to be surprised if we get, you know, to a point. I'm not going to be surprised if we get to a point that, you know, Misty, you know, saves Opaline. She saves Opaline, and something happens with Misty, and then Opaline kind of makes the decision to save her, you know, even at the sacrifice of having that ultimate power again. That's showing that she is capable of friendship, and that she is just another unicorn that was corrupted by, you know, the dark magic, or whatever dark magic is there. And, you know, as far as Opaline's, you know, true identity goes, a lot of people are still pretty much considering the fact that she is Radiant Hope from the comics, from the G4 continuity, mostly the continuity of the comics, maybe the show, but mostly the comics. They believe it's Radiant Hope. Some have said it could be Flurry Heart. That's true. Some have gone as far as saying it's Twilight. But the overall consensus is basically it's Radiant Hope. And why is it Radiant Hope? Who knows? But a lot of people feel it could be a connection with King Sombra. We don't know. But yeah, everybody that's seen this, I'm very, very much quite sure know, and pretty much can see that a true friendship is going to, you know, really develop between Opaline and Misty, you know, kind of similar to what we have seen before in the past when other shows have been around and they've had these kind of villainous characters, to where the main antagonist does show signs of good by saving, you know, the minion, you know, their apprentice that's kind of been like the only friend from being destroyed or dying. So I could see them probably going that route with Misty and with Opaline as the series progresses throughout. Because we kind of see that here. We kind of see that, especially when they're both trying to do a maniacal laugh together, and she's like, hey, if you're going to do this with me, you need to learn to do it better and everything. And she even kind of counts down with her to try to do it. You know, so it kind of, again, you kind of get that feeling that there's a bond there between them that I think is truly going to get tested, and basically because of that bond, true friendship is going to be revealed between the two, and that's going to probably what turns not only Misty over to the side of good and redeems her, it's going to do the same for Opaline, and by default we'll find out who Opaline really is, you know, as the series, you know, moves on. The other thing that came out about this, of course, we kind of got a hint of it. You know, we kind of got a hint of it in, you know, in Make Your Mark arc, like I said, the sequel to the movie, the pilot to the series, basically chapter 1. You know, basically, and it was hinted at also at the end of New Generation. We see that the Earth ponies have magic now. And that magic is to create plant life, like grow plants and everything. Kind of like a shout out to, let's say, Applejack in a sense. Because Applejack, as an Earth pony, was always, you know, was always strong for who she was. And everybody was always curious, like, how is she able to do that, you know, with her hooves? And to me, it's all about Earth magic. And thus her and Pinky and other Earth ponies in G4 had magic that allowed them to basically, you know, interact with the Earth and do things they couldn't do before. But now that magic has evolved, obviously thanks to the Unity crystals, courtesy of Twilight Sparkle. And because of that now they're able to grow plant life. You know, plant life for, you know, for shade, if they want to have a tree, for food, you name it. So obviously that magic has evolved thanks to Twilight. And apparently it looks like it's, you know, it's still something that the Earth ponies, as we see in Tell Your Tale and we saw obviously in Make Your Mark, the chapter 1, the sequel pilot, if you will. You know, we kind of see that they're still learning, and obviously are still learning the capabilities, the new capabilities here in the series. Now, throughout it, we do see Queen Haven. She's in there. Again, as I said in a video, do not sleep on Queen Haven. I think she's going to play an integral role as well. Do not sleep on her. But yeah, we see a lot more. We get more of an idea of what we're getting. We kind of get a sneak peek at the theme song that's going to get played. So that's kind of cool. But then at the end, you know, that's what really got a lot of people talking. Now, apparently the MLP official YouTube page didn't show this, but the Netflix After School YouTube page did. And whether or not they took it down, switched it up, and decided, okay, we're going to re-upload the trailer, but without this ending. You know, if they did that, that's fine. But it's a little too late to try to fix an oopsie if you know that's what happened here. You know, because Hasbro could get on them and say, hey, they weren't supposed to see that. You know, just yet. But anyway, the one thing a lot of people are talking about when it comes to the ending of the trailer on the Netflix After School YouTube page is what I consider, like I say, a post-credit scene for the trailer, and that is an appearance by Twilight Sparkle. And what it looks like to be is a holographic message that she's giving. Obviously, one can interpret, obviously, to Sunny and her friends, which according to the title of this are being dubbed the Main Five, but we all know that's probably going to change. You know, just like, you know, the Main Six changed to the Main Seven, Main Eight as that series progressed. So yeah, right now they're known as the Main Five, and it sounds like I said, Twilight is sending them a message. You know, because as we find out, and again, this is where that whole, hey, you got to watch everything MLPG5 related, watch and read everything MLPG5 related to truly get the idea of what's going on, to truly like piece everything together. You know, because, you know, in one of the recent episodes of Tell Your Tale, you know, Argyle appeared in a video message on a projector for Sunny. And this is after Sunny and her friends went on a journey, you know, across the world, or at least parts of Equestria, you know, as much as they could in a 6-7 minute span, to gather all these pieces of this tapestry, this quill, that had basically them on it. It had them on it. And Argyle basically in this message kind of acknowledged that was, you know, that he knew. Because I did a video and somebody commented on me recently on that video. I asked the question, did Argyle know? And apparently he did. Because apparently he saw this tapestry and he knew her daughter and her new friends were going to be destined for something more. And, you know, that what do we see in New Generation? Exactly what they were destined for. But the point that I'm getting at basically is, you know, Argyle pretty much knew this was going to happen. He pretty much knew it was going to happen. And we have been given an idea that, you know, between generations, you know, year gap wise and all that, that 250 to 300 years have passed. Now, some could say that's not long enough for a lot of things to be forgotten, and that is true. That is indeed true. I will give you that. That's not long enough, but hear me out. Hear me out. You know, a lot of stuff happens throughout history, and sometimes details get lost in history. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'll go back to my Archie Sonic comics, if you will. The Archie Sonic comics. When we got to the final issue of the Mecha Sally World Tour II Death Egg Mark II arc, when we got to the final issue of that, Silver basically explained, not only who the traitor was going to be, not only did he reveal who the traitor was going to be, but he also revealed the fact that history got their information wrong. And you have Irma, I think that's her name, Irma, if you will, of the Arctic Freedom Fighters, Tails, I think even Amy Rose, you have them all kind of agreeing somewhat with Silver. Some of them are stating that, throughout the passage of time, hold on for a second. That throughout the passage of time, a lot of details could get lost. A lot of information can get lost, and you only go off of what's, what information you have, but not, all the information. And when it comes to something like this with Make Your Mark and the 250 to 300 year gap of generations, that doesn't seem like it's long enough to lose all the details of historical events. But if a lot goes on, and dissension starts to creep itself back in, then there is a good chance, that information could get lost. There is a good chance information could get lost or misinterpreted and all that because of all the dissension that's coming forth. So, 250 to 300 years doesn't seem long enough, but it is possible throughout that span for information to get mixed up, lost, misinterpreted, and all that because of growing tension, dissension, stuff like that, prejudice, growing throughout. That could happen, because, certain races don't want people to know about the other races, and the fact that they used to get along and stuff like that. Argyle obviously knew because of the fact that Twilight knew. Now, how Twilight knew that these were going to be the next, heroes of Equestria, the ones that kind of, be able to restore magic and everything to the land, restore peace again, hopefully we'll get an answer to that. Maybe because, she has all the power and everything back during Generation 4, during her reign as queen, maybe she did get like a vision or a prophecy given to her that this was going to happen. But we're not sure. We're not entirely sure, but it is possible to kind of, think that might have been what happened. That might have been what occurred, but again, we don't know. We don't know if that's the case or it's not. We can't really say. But I mean, how else is Twilight going to know who the new heroes are going to be? We don't. How else is she going to know? Oh, honestly, she can't. She can't know unless she has some kind of very prophically, not prophically, but some kind of prophet dream and vision of this happening. I mean, just like Celestia, had a prophet-like vision and dream of Twilight and her friends being the ones to, protect Equestria, of Twilight being the next Alicorn princess, of her being the chosen one. So maybe that's what Twilight had. And, that's how she knew, okay, Equestria is going to be in good hands. It's just going to take several generations for that to happen. We don't know. But if But if she is the one sending this message to them if she is the one that's sending them this message while holding the Unity crystal, if you will, not just the Pegasus crystal like I mentioned earlier, but the Unity crystal, if she's the one sending them this message saying, I'm always going to be with you, but it's a message from the past, and she's acknowledging, Sunny by name maybe through this message, obviously it does fill in the gaps of, kind of help fill in the gaps of the fact that she knew. She knew that Sunny and her friends were going to be the ones to try to bring magic back and bring magic back to Equestria and restore peace to it once again. And I do apologize about that. That was a motorcycle that went by. But like I said, she probably, like I said, had a vision and a dream like Celestia did. So again, that kind of does fill in the gaps that she knew, just like Argyle knew, because of the tapestry and everything. She knew because of a prophetic, vision, dream that she had similar to maybe what Celestia had. And, the rest is history. But I think over time, starting in 2 weeks, we'll find out exactly, how she knew or how she found out, why she had this tapestry put together, why it was in pieces originally, and tell your tale. Hopefully within the next week, in the next couple of weeks, we'll get more information when the series comes out. And basically the way it's described now, we're getting more of an idea that 300 years have passed as between the generations. We're getting that idea and everything. And apparently with 6 to 8 episodes being dropped on launch day, what that tells me is that these are not going to be looked at as seasonal episodes. These are going to be looked at as chapters. So we're getting chapter 2 now, but then we're going to get chapter 3, which will be the next 6 to 8 episodes. Will make it about 12 to 16. Then we'll get the next 6 to 8, if you will, which will make it 12 to 16. It will make it 18 to 20, if you will, and then we'll get like the final 3 afterwards. So you're looking basically at a 4-chapter potential first season. But that's really all I have to say on it, guys. My bus is here now. Let me know what your thoughts are down below on Make Your Mark. How did you feel about it when it came out? And until next time, guys, I will talk to you later, but give me your thoughts.